And I'd like to start perhaps with Rory Miller to give us some sort of sense of how you believe, Rory, the international community can support these efforts right now.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I will be brief. And when I was first asked to speak, primarily in the context of what would be the effect of the relationship with Israel and the Palestinians with the external environment, regionally and internationally, after the establishment of the Palestinian state, my initial thought was this, that of all the parties, regional, extra-regional, to this conflict, to this peace process, probably in many ways the most significant impact would be on the European Union. And I say that because, since at least 1967, the European attempt to play an active and real and full political role in the politics of the peace process and in dealing with the conflict has caused significant soul-searching inside Europe. It has also always come to define the European political aspirations as a player on the international arena. And I think that is something that is going to be very notable once a Palestinian state, or if a Palestinian state is established, how Europe not only contributes to the state building that it's already played a significant financial role in bringing about, but how it actually comes to terms with its own place in the international arena. But that's perhaps something we can deal with later. The other thing that dawned on me was this, and I want to ask a question. What are the two most significant economic factors in the Middle East at the moment that play a role on the global stage? And I would argue that they are both Israel's place as a global technology leader and the Arab Gulf, and particularly the GCC states' role is as a major investor outside of the region and in real estate, in finance, and in high technology. And what I would say is this, and this is probably the key issue in a post-settlement Israel-Palestine in the economic sphere, and that is coupling together Israel's success as a technology leader with the Gulf's resources. Now, I would not be as crude as saying what one journalist wrote in the title of an article recently, Jewish brains, Arab money, and that's the future of the Middle East. Because it's not strictly true. The Israelis are extremely successful in gaining venture capital, and in the Gulf, in Qatar, in Abu Dhabi, in other parts of the GCC, there has been a real development in terms of investing in education and research. But what is not a doubt is that the current impasse in the politics of the Israel-Palestine conflict are preventing, in any major way, Gulf ambitions, Gulf necessities, and Gulf resources being fixed with Israeli experience, Israeli technological know-how. Now, over the last few years, there have been many indications that Gulf leaders are willing to overlook the failure for peace and move forward in the economic cooperation sphere with Israel. And I think this is hugely important and something that will be seen more notably. And I don't want to deal on it now, but there are many specific examples that we can bring up later on if it's something that interests you. What I would just like to say as well is that what does this mean for the Palestinian state if and when it is established? Well, just the other day I had a seriously high-level delegation from a Gulf state in my office just 5 minutes away, and we were talking about this very issue. And I think, one of the speakers this morning said that we cannot deal with these issues as issues of escapism. And really, the message from the Gulf is this: if business people are allowed to deal with each other free of the obstacles of politics, then there are many, many opportunities in the region. And when you say to them, and will this benefit a Palestinian state, I have to say, unfortunately, the response is that isn't our problem, but it will definitely benefit the Gulf, and it will definitely benefit Gulf relations with Israel. So I think maybe something that we can talk about as we move on in this discussion is the practicalities and the obstacles to perhaps the richest group of nations in the world with the most ambitious plans for developing their own economies with one of the most highly advanced economies in the world, and what this means for a future peace in the region. Thank you.